it's your girl Alicia, holistic nutritionist and personal trainer. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm super excited because today we are doing a reaction video. I would just say just a program review. We're doing a program review. We're looking at what we did the last 4 weeks of our January program and just trying to narrow down what we did really good in, what we did very well in, like what we loved about this program, what we progressed in. So when we look at progressive overload, that can look like a range of so many different things. It doesn't always have to be how much weight you put on that bar or how much dumbbell weight you increased in. It doesn't always have to be the increase of weight. It can be the range of motion, your range of motion. So if you're doing a squat and you weren't as low as before, you weren't hitting 90 and you got below that 90 degree, that's a progression. That's a progression in range of motion. Or you can be looking at your repetition. Say our program says to 3 reps and you started off with just 2 reps and then you increased to 3 reps. That is a different way to look at progressive overload when you're looking at your program. So those are a few little tidbits just to keep in mind. In my program, I was really just focusing on, one, a lot of my repetitions. I wanted to see if I can increase it while staying at either the same weight or upping my weight. I personally was very happy about this program because the way that I transitioned into the second program, and you guys are going to see that next week, I was very, very happy about of like how smooth things were feeling because strength was being built. And you guys know me, you guys know that I'm all about building strength mentally and physically, and your girl got that. Your girl did that. So before we get into it, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I would love to hear you guys' feedback on what you guys did with your program, if you were following it, and what you saw the differences when you guys were doing your program. Did you guys increase in weights, increase in repetitions? Did you guys find more range of motion? Whatever it is that you found that was different for you, I would love to hear it out in the comment. All right, let's get started. So week 1, actually, so this video is week 4, and you are seeing me at 115 on the front squat. I really like this front squat just because of the fact that, one, my range of motion in my squat is always normally the same, but it wasn't as difficult as the first week. Like the first week, you're gonna see it soon come in. The first week here, I only did about 3 or 4 reps. And it felt super heavy. That's one thing I noted, that 115 on the first week felt super heavy. And you also want to take in mind that I was not training for maybe about like a month, like as like consistently as I wanted to make it for coming into this. So one, consistency was key in order for me to see a huge difference, and constantly making sure I was going into the gym and just making sure I was following my program. I was also taking note of how I was feeling. Did I eat enough? Was I drinking enough water? Was my mind mentally there in order for me to execute the movement that I needed to do? So first week it was super heavy. I only got through 3 or 4 reps. I can tell here in the first week that I was struggling just a little bit because it was a slower coming up than instead of that power pushing through the floor. Where in the first week of this, the 4th week coming into this front squat here, I did have a little bit struggle on the last 2. And the one thing that I love to keep in mind is, if the last 2 repetition, which is either 7 or 8, 9 or 10, 5 or 6, if those 2 feel the heaviest, that's where I'm going to stop. So here, 5, 6 felt that's where I felt the struggle. And that's when I was like, okay, 115, 5 to 6, 6 is going to be my stopping gate for going into the next program. So, but it was really smooth. in terms of how I felt, it's so funny. I actually walk off the same way. I actually walk off the same way in both of the videos. But I was very proud of that. I was really proud and I felt really good about those front squats. And I feel 10 times more better about my front squats in the second program. So it's really just, we're going up from there. And I was really focusing on my mobility prior to my training. So I was making sure that was a priority. 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how much time I had for that day, making sure I was really focusing on opening up those hips, opening up the T-spine, grooving the pattern for what it is that I was going to be doing for that workout for that day. So coming into the next video, I did this backwards, but we're going with the single arm bench press. So single arm bench press, we did start off with, I think it was 20 or 25. It was a 20, the video shows me. So in the first video, you do see that sometimes I do change things around because I want to say this, programs aren't Bible, okay? And when I say programs aren't Bible, it means that programs can be changed around. Programs can be changed around depending on how you're feeling and what works best for you. So because my trainer or myself might put something in a program for a client, or for myself, or if I have a trainer that's training me and they put something in the program, if it's not suiting me and it doesn't feel right in that moment, I can easily change that. I can easily change what it is that we are doing. I can either progress it, I can regress it, or I can change that movement all entirely. So for the dumbbell bench press, we did start off as an iso hold with on one side with the dumbbell, and the other side was doing the work because it was a unilateral movement. I decided to take away the other dumbbell and keep that other arm as with no weight in it, and the other arm would be doing the work. The reason why I did that, because for me, I've been having issues with my costal cartilage. So a lot of straining was happening as I was trying to hold on to the other side as I bench press with one arm. So I decided that in order for me to stay a little bit more stable, I can take off that weight and really focus on pushing myself through the ground, and depending on if I went up in weight, I can see and adjust where I needed to adjust. So I found that the single arm bench press with only one weight in hand was perfectly fine for me here as I progressed up in weight. The lower I went, that was fine. I started off at 20. It didn't throw off anything, and it didn't start to strain anything. But I found that as I started to increase the weight, I needed to reduce one side in order for me to focus on that one side properly. So I'm saying this and I'm just like, does this even make sense to you? It makes sense to me because I'm doing the work. But again, I always say and I always preach that a program is not Bible. It can be switched around. So if you decided to stay straight through with the two dumbbells in hand while you're working one side, that was perfect for you. If you decided to switch it up, that's okay as well, because that's what I did. So I went up to a 35-pound. This did feel good while I didn't have the other weight in hand. It allowed me to find a little bit more control on the other side. And we did 10 on each side. So 9 and 10 was the struggle, as you can see in week 4, the bigger picture. That was, the last 2 sets was my, the struggle area. So I knew that 35 was what I was going to stay at all the way up to 10. So I was perfectly good with that, and I was happy about that. Woo! I feel like I'm talking a lot. Okay, so same thing that I did here. Personally, I had no reason to take out the second dumbbell, to be honest. I don't know why I did that. I think I ended up doing that just because I did the same thing for the bench press. But That was fine. I did go up in weight here. I think it was a 40. It was a 40 pound that I did for the reverse lunge, where I started off with a 30 on the other side. Again, it's not Bible. We're still doing the same thing essentially, though I wish I did stick with the second double dumbbell on this side for the last week, but it's okay. We go into Bulgarian split squats in the next program anyways. So all right, so what do we have? We have, coming into the last one, also, I don't think I even said this, we are on day one. This is day one's, the first two movements was day one's program. So we had the front squats, the bench press, and the reverse lunge that we were looking at in terms of how we were going to progress. So now we're coming into day two. We're looking at the kettlebell swings. I love kettlebell swings. You always want to start on the ground, because if you start swinging from the top, you're not going to get the power that you need through the hips. Again, this is not a vertical movement. It's not an up and down movement. It is horizontal. So you're looking to hinge through your hips, lead with the hips. That's why we start on the ground in that hinge position. So we're going to hike the kettlebell through our crotch area and then push through the hips to push it forward. So it's a lot hip movement where we're kind of keeping our arms a little bit relaxed. So that's where I find that I got a lot more of my power. I did increase the weight here, but I kept going at 12 for these. I think it was 12 or 15. So that was, I was perfectly happy with this, and I love the way my kettlebell swings look. But if you see that there's any improvements that I can make in those kettlebell swings, let me know in the comment. I would love to hear that. So coming into, we're still working on that single arm unilateral movement work here, because past life, not past life, but few years ago, I did have sciatica. So coming into this program 2 years later, or 3 years later now, because we're in 2023, I am very happy about the progress that I've made, because I was not able to walk nor lift any weights for almost a year and a half. So seeing myself being able to, one, walk properly as well as be able to lift without pain, and I live for longevity, I'm very, very happy about my progress. So you guys can make comments on what you see of what I can improve, and I'm dearly happy to see them and take that as great critiquing. And yeah, so let's get into it. So we did the single arm cable row. I really enjoyed these ones for this month because of the fact that I had so much more control in the last week on my left side than I did on my first week. So first week we started off with a little bit of a lower weight. I believe I was at 20 pounds, and then I increased it to 35 on the last week. So as you can see here, as I am protracting and retracting, it was a lot more control, and I personally love that for me. Coming into the supine bridge march here. So we're still on day two. Supine bridge march, we started off with an 8-pound. I'm actually laughing at that because I don't know why I decided to start off with 8-pound, because we jumped all the way to a 20 pounds. Okay, we jumped maybe it was 20 or 25. Let's see. No, I don't. I don't think I see it. Okay, anyways, we jumped. It was either a 20 to a 25, and you can see here I have way more control here. Shoulder stability is looking really well, and this is a horrible angle here for the fourth week, but that's okay, because on the first week you can see from the side my ribs, it does look a little bit flared here, but no, not too much. I think when I come down in the first week, I do have a slight arch, but the heavier weight that I decided to increase to helped me feel a lot more, not little, but a lot more stable in this movement. So very happy about that. Yeah, look at that, smooth. Okay, so we're on day 3. Whew. Okay, so day 3, the lateral raise shrimp squats. So these ones, because I was at a different facility of a Good Life, they didn't have the, like, I think it was the 2-pound or 5-pound like dumbbells that I would normally use for this, but I just decided to get the 5-pound weights that you would use for the barbell. So weight was still the same. I just found that I had way more control in these than the first week. So in the first week, when I was coming down, there was a lot more slamming onto the block, where here's like a light tap and push through the heel. So I was really focusing on driving through the floor with my heel, my core bracing, squeezing the glutes, and just, yeah, everything here felt and looked really well. So I was very happy about that, especially on my left side. So yeah, and then we have, I think this was the last one. So the last one that we did focus on for day 3 was our barbell RDL. So I'm just gonna quickly scan through it before we get into it. Let me see here. I'm not always great at my rack math, so week 4 we did 135, and then this is me trying to like go through it, just make sure I'm doing it right. I think we were at 115 on the first week that I can say. Yeah, we were at 115 because the first weight here is a 25, and then I added a 10. So coming up to 135, which is a big jump, which I'm totally fine with. Most of the time we like to increase by about 5 to 10 pounds, but I know my body, and this is one thing that I want you to understand, is that when you know your body and you've been training for a very long time, you know where you can increase to and how much you can increase to. So sometimes if you increase by 5, it still might feel like the same weight, so you might want to increase 10 more pounds. So I was very satisfied with this. I increased by 20 because we were at 115 before. So yeah, because it's 135, so we increased by 20 pounds, which is totally fine on the deadlift or RDL. My lower body is my stronger, it's stronger than my upper body, and I've always known this since I did gymnastics as a child. I hated doing bars because I could never really pull myself up. That's why you see me doing, like, you know, chin-ups negatives and push-up negatives to really build back up the strength of the upper body. But let's get into these RDLs. They were feeling fucking smooth. I liked them. I really did. Look at that. Look at the power. Look at the focus. That control. Slowly coming down, stopping at the shins, driving through the heels to push myself right back up. That core is embraced. The lats engage. Like, what more can I say here? So yeah, this was the program. These RDLs were really great. We did all the way up to 10 reps. So here we increased in weight, but we kept the reps the same, and I was perfectly happy about that because strength went up. Okay, it went all the way up. So that was the program review. I don't know. I personally, this is my first time doing this, like actually going back and looking at some of the stuff that I did and increased on, and I enjoyed it because of the fact that one, I was noticing my strength go up, and it really helps coming into the second program that you guys are going to do with me next month. And it felt really good. It felt really good. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I think that doing this program, writing it out, and tracking my weight, and my weight as in like the weights that I'm using for my training. I don't weigh myself. Let me put that out there. I don't care how much I weigh. I care about how I feel. Okay, care about what my body is saying. I know where I range in my weight, and I'm usually fluctuating around like the 150, 155. So I really don't care. I'm really just always focusing on what my body is feeling like. Is it feeling strong? Is it feeling a little bit weak? Is there things that we can improve on? Is there opportunity? And there's always opportunity in everything. So that's one thing I always want to make note at, is that things don't suck. Nothing is better than the other. There's opportunity to get that one side stronger, or one side as strong as the other side. So no negativity here, bitch. Joking. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching this video with me and doing the program review. I hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys saw of what I probably missed. If you have any questions, leave a comment. As well as I will see you guys in the next program. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's your girl, Alicia. Thank you guys for tuning in. Later.